few of our trainers. Today we are joined by Sherry, Alicia, and Lisa. So to start us off on our journey, one of the very first things we should do is determine exactly which species of dolphin we have here in front of us, as there are 43 species of dolphins and porpoises worldwide, up to 10 or 11 of which can be seen right here off the coast of BC. And one of the biggest hints in helping you determine exactly which species this is to get a closer look at those beautiful torpedo-shaped bodies with that curved dorsal fin on top. As they're up and out of the water here, you may notice that very distinguished gray, black, and white pattern. That kind of coloration is what tells us which species this is. These are Pacific white-sided dolphins, and these dolphins are known for their very high energy and very sociable behavior. And they can be found all across the North Pacific, and they're known for their very high energy in up and out of the water surface, all across the North Pacific, from the north coast of Mexico, all the way up to BC, and across to Japan. Open ocean dolphin, which meant to see wonderful displays such as that, researchers would have to travel pretty far from shore. However, over the past 20 years, these dolphins have moved a lot closer inshore, allowing us some pretty wonderful viewing opportunities. And when researchers are viewing these dolphins, they very often photograph them, much as I'm sure many of you are doing right now. But it's usually pretty tough for researchers to be able to photograph the entire body of a dolphin up and out of the water. But we just might have that opportunity today. If you draw your attention down onto our ducks, you might just get a look at those beautiful torpedo-shaped bodies up and out of the water. Usually researchers are only ever able to photograph the dorsal fin of these animals. And here's Laverne showing off that wonderful body. Helen, Spinnaker, and Hannah come out on our ducks to join them, and that's right, they're doing a wonderful job. I think we can give them a round of applause. Photographs. I mentioned that it's pretty tough to get such a great look at them. Usually, researchers can only photograph those dorsal fins as they move in and out of the water. The dorsals, which stays out of the water the longest. And actually, researchers have found that by photographing those dorsal fins, it helps them identify individuals and keep a better track of where they're heading out. And that actually helps us learn a little bit. That same theory will let us learn a little bit more about the dolphins here at the aquarium. So if you take a closer look at the dolphin nearest to me, that's Laverne, and we can tell because her dorsal is by far the largest and actually curves a little bit to the left. Next to Laverne, we have Spinnaker. His dorsal fin has the most white on it. After Spinnaker is Helen. Her dorsal is very curved, comes to a nice hook. And then at the very end, we have Hannah. Her dorsal fin is very triangular, much like a shark's. And now that we know how to identify the different individuals here at the aquarium, let's get a better idea of what sort of role they play in our ocean's food web. And when we talk about a food web, we generally talk about two different kinds of animals. Predators, animals that eat other animals, and prey, the animals that get eaten. So, I'd actually like to ask all of you a question. How many of you here think that these dolphins might be predators? Raise your hand. Excellent. Now, how many of you think that these dolphins might be prey? Raise your hand. Excellent. Now, how many of you are thinking, you know what, Keely, I think there's another option here. I think they're actually predator and prey. Raise your hands. There we go. Yeah, we see the most hands here because they are, in fact, both. But let's get a better idea of the predator side of things first. If you have the opportunity to take a look inside the mouth of a dolphin, you may notice between 80 and 120 cone-shaped teeth. Those cone-shaped teeth are known as catching teeth, as dolphins tend to swallow their food whole. But, I don't know, dolphins, can you swallow a larger fish like a salmon whole? I didn't think so. Now, these dolphins aren't actually answering my question, but they are demonstrating a very unique behavior. By thrashing their head back and forth in that manner, that helps them break apart larger fish like salmon into smaller, easier to swallow pieces. Now, what about the prey side of things? Well, unfortunately, these dolphins are, in fact, prey to three major predators. But to try and ensure those predators can't find them as easily, these dolphins can rely once more on that beautiful coloration. So if you have the opportunity to see those bodies up and out of the water once more, you might want to notice those very dark tops and nice white bellies. Here's a great look at that here. And that kind of coloration is a special form of camouflage known as counter shading. It really helps them blend in. In fact, as you're above them now looking down into the habitat, you might have a hard time tracking them as they're swimming about in the water. Those dark tops do blend in very well with what's below them. Of course, they do beautiful leaps like that as we're seeing from Laverne. But for any animal below these dolphins looking up, that nice white belly you saw there blends in very well with the ocean surface and sky above them, making it very difficult to be tracked. Unfortunately, however, despite this counter shading, those predators still might come across them. So who exactly are their predators? Well, the first predator is large, it's black, it's white, it's a
Orca!
killer whale or orca, absolutely. And to escape an orca, which is in fact another type of dolphin, these Pacific white-sided dolphins can rely on their speed. So Spinnaker showed off just how fast they really can be. They can reach speeds of around 35 kilometers an hour. In addition to that amazing speed, they can also rely, of course, on their amazing acrobatics.
Wow.
And how about their second major predator? Well, their second predator is gray. It's got lots of teeth. Spielberg made a movie about them. It's sharks. Excellent. And to escape a shark, these dolphins can rely on their rostrum. It's that hard part touching their trainer's hand right now. And that rostrum is actually as hard as a baseball bat and can be used in a very similar way. We've actually just put a very scary ball here into the habitat. We're going to pretend that's a shark and get a closer look and see what Helen is able to do with her rostrum to defend herself. As you can see, that rostrum works very well. She's got some pretty good aim as well. In addition to that hard rostrum, these dolphins also have incredibly strong tails. Take a look at that power. I know that if I were a shark and I got hit in the face with one of those tails, I certainly wouldn't want dolphin for dinner. And how about that third major predator? Well, their third predator is actually by far the most dangerous. And we have that predator here in abundance at the Vancouver Aquarium today. If you were to take a look to your left and take a look to your right, you'd find you're surrounded by them. Human beings are the third major predator of these beautiful Pacific white-sided dolphins. 3 out of 4 of our dolphins are actually non-releasable rehabilitation animals, which means they sustained injuries out in the open ocean that prevent them from being re-released. Spinnaker is one such of those animals. You may notice that Spinnaker has some scarring on the right-hand side of his body where he was entangled in a net. Helen also bears some scars with her experiences with nets. You may notice that Helen's pectoral flippers are actually a lot smaller than the other dolphins. It was necessary to remove part of her pectoral flippers to save her life. But you don't need to feel sorry for these animals. They were found in time to be rescued and rehabilitated and are great ambassadors for their species. But there is actually something that you can do to help to try and ensure no further dolphins or marine life like these come to harm. And we can do that by making safer, wiser seafood choices. And it can be tough as a consumer to know exactly where our seafood has come from and if it's been fished in a sustainable manner. But we here at the Vancouver Aquarium have tried to take the guesswork out of it for you. We've created a program called OceanWise, in which a lot of markets and restaurants all across the Lower Mainland and Canada participate in. And if you see that OceanWise symbol next to any of those many